Hey, welcome back. It's Kenny Polcari again. So join me in the kitchen as we cook the first of the 7 dishes that we have on Christmas Eve. Look, it's Christmas Eve in an Italian household, and you can't help but get excited because it's the greatest night of the year. It's even bigger than Christmas Day because on Christmas Eve, it's when we have the big celebration and we have the Feast of the 7 Fishes. So on Christmas Eve, we'll typically cook linguine and lobster stuffs, stuffed calamari, salmon, bay scallops bathed in a black truffle cream sauce, feta shrimp, and linguine and clam sauce, which is the dish we're going to make today. It's relatively simple to make, but it is absolutely delicious. And for this, you need the clams, you need the linguine, the white wine, the olive oil, some clam juice, the onions and the garlic, and of course, some fresh grated Parmesan cheese at the end. Because you want the garlic to be not minced, you just want it to be chunky. Take this, you're going to put it right in the pan. And I'm going to add the olive oil and I'm going to get this started. So here I like to keep the onions not tiny, but nice and chunky. And then you got to saute this until the onions come kind of soft and translucent. It might be 8 or 10 minutes that you want to saute these, but make sure that you stay by the pot again so that you don't burn the onions as you're cooking. Once this is done, you're going to rinse your clams. And you want to make sure that you're going to wash the clams with any sand that may still be on the clams. Don't run them under hot water. Run them under cold water and just wash the sand off if there's any. Once you do that, they're going to be ready to throw right in the sauce. And you want to make sure that the clams are all closed. You don't want to use a clam that's open prior to cooking it. And then just add the clams right to the garlic and onions that you have on the stove. And then you're going to cover them, and you're going to let the steam help them to open. What's very interesting is that I remember this so well because when I was a young kid, we used to do this at my grandmother's house every Christmas Eve. And my grandmother lived in a 2-family house. My one set of grandparents lived upstairs, my other set of grandparents lived downstairs. It was really, really a very cool situation because we could visit all 4 of them just by running up and down the stairs. But one way or the other, my mother's mother would host Christmas Eve every year, and they would be cooking the same things that I'm going to cook this Christmas Eve. So it would be linguine and clam sauce, like I said, the lobster sauce. They would make fried sardines, which is something I don't make because I'm not big on fried sardines, but I've just changed it up and I'll make salmon instead of the fried sardines. And so now we're going to just keep our eyes on the clam sauce. I want to make sure that the clams are going to open. If any one of the clams that don't open, you need to discard. Typically what will happen is after 8 or 10 minutes, you'll start to see the clams, once they warm up, they'll open up. The juice from the clam will come out and go into the pot. And then before we add the wine, we're going to add just some extra minced clams in their own juice to add to the flavor of the clam sauce. Now I'm going to add the minced clams with their own clam juice just to add more flavor and more clam when you put it over the linguine and you have it. So you have to understand what goes into this production on Christmas Eve, right? It actually starts on the 23rd. I'll order all this fish from the fish store, then we'll go out and pick it up. And on the night of the 23rd, I'll actually make a lobster sauce, which isn't a tomato sauce. So you make that the night before and it marinates and it sits overnight. So by the time you eat it on Christmas Eve, it's even better than when it's first made. Well, the linguine and clam sauce, which I will make the night of, because this one doesn't take very long. This takes maybe 35 minutes. So this can be happening as the night's going on. So what happens is there's a lot of people here. We typically have 50 or 60 people. Most of them are family and the other ones are friends over the years that don't really do anything on Christmas Eve because it's not their holiday. So over the years, we've ended up inviting numerous families to join us on Christmas Eve because in my mind, how can you be alone on Christmas Eve? It's the greatest night of the year. I'm going to let it simmer for another 15 or 20 minutes. Once all the clams are opened up, it's really done. Now look, I'm going to make 2 pounds of linguine this afternoon for this clam sauce. And so I want to make sure I don't run out of the sauce for the pasta. So I'm actually going to add one of these small bottles of clam juice just to make sure that there's enough sauce for the linguine once we serve it. Because again, the linguine tends to suck up the sauce. And so therefore you want to make sure that you have enough of it. I'll let that simmer. You can see all these clams have now opened up beautifully. You can see, look at the clam in there. Now you see over here I've got the water boiling. Now remember, we always have to have salted water, so I have not salted this yet. And depending on how much pasta you're making would dictate how much salt you want to use. We're going to make about 2 pounds of pasta, so I'm going to add about a handful of salt like that. So I'm going to take this pasta, bring it over here. So this is 2 pounds of pasta. I don't want to break the pasta, so therefore I'm going to just let it get soft on its own. Again, you want this to be al dente, so you don't want to cook it for more than 8 or 9 minutes, but we're going to test it as we go along. Once it's all in the water, I'm going to cover it up. I'm going to turn the sauce down a little bit just so it's not boiling away. Now remember what I said the last time about always reserving the pasta water. In this case, because it's linguine, it's not rigatoni, we're going to strain the pasta through the colander, but I'm going to save a mug full of water. I'm going to put the pasta right in the clam sauce. I'm going to mix it up. And then we're going to serve it in the dish. Now I'm going to take my great clam plate. I got this for Christmas. One year my mother gave it to me for Christmas because it's the perfect dish. How could you not enjoy serving linguine and clam sauce in a plate like this? I'm going to add just a little bit of cheese on top, a dusting of cheese, and then everyone could add a little bit more. So now I've got my linguine and clam sauce served in this absolutely spectacular clam dish. I mean, what better dish than to serve linguine and clam sauce in? We've got the white wine over here, so I'm going to pour a couple of glasses of white wine to enjoy with this. Sauce on it. It is absolutely my pleasure to serve you linguine and clam sauce. I hope you enjoy this. From my house to yours, Merry Christmas.